Have you seen the crazy predictions from The Simpsons that are coming true one after another? What's waiting for us? What have they already predicted? I'll tell you how this iconic animated series has turned into a real book of prophecies that's hard not to take seriously. And at the end, I'll show you the episode that supposedly marks the beginning of the USA's collapse, and so far, everything matches up. Creepy, right? The Shard Skyscraper. But for now, let me just show you a few of the predictions that have already come true so you can grasp the scale and accuracy of these hits. In the 19th episode of Season 6, titled Lisa's Wedding, Lisa's trip to London features a remark about a skyscraper proudly rising behind the Tower Bridge. This building resembles the famous Shard, and even its location is identical. Designed by architect Renzo Piano in 2000, who is known for the Pompidou Center in Paris, the construction of this skyscraper took place from 2007 to 2012. Interestingly, the episode was aired long before its construction, back in 1995. How did the Shard already appear there? The Sunken Submersible. Or remember the recent tragedy when a deep-sea vessel with billionaires on board sank near the Titanic. On June 18th, just an hour and a half after starting its dive, the submersible Titan suddenly lost contact. On board were 5 of the wealthiest people on the planet who wanted to see the remains of the famous Titanic with their own eyes. Unfortunately, this adventure, full of mysteries, ended in death for them. Many questions linger in the air. Why? How? What exactly happened in the depths? What were they feeling? What were they thinking in their last moments? And here's the crazy part. A similar situation was played out in The Simpsons in a 2006 episode. Homer, along with his son, travels to the site of the Titanic wreck and finds chests full of treasure. Luckily, in this version, there's a somewhat positive outcome. After losing oxygen and slipping into a coma, Homer wakes up 3 days later in the hospital. Mike Rice, a Simpsons writer and former showrunner, himself dived 3 times to the Titanic aboard Ocean Gate Expedition's submersibles and admitted that during each dive, they lost communication with the surface. Apparently, that's when he realized a tragedy was bound to happen to someone. Coincidence again? The God Particle. And here's a coincidence that's almost impossible to predict. In the 2nd episode of the 10th season of The Simpsons, which aired in 1998 and was titled The Wizard of Evergreen Terrace, Homer tries to follow in the footsteps of Thomas Edison and become an inventor. In one scene, he writes something on a board that at first glance seems like nonsense. However, it turns out to be a complex mathematical equation. Simon Singh, a well-known British science writer, noted in an interview with The Independent that the final number Homer wrote is surprisingly close to the actual mass of the Higgs boson, the subatomic particle that scientists discovered at CERN in 2012. According to Singh, if you do the math, the number turns out to be only slightly larger than the real mass of the Higgs boson. 14 years before the official discovery, Homer seems to have predicted it. Pants for Michelangelo's David. Or how about this? In the 9th episode of the 2nd season of The Simpsons, which aired in 1990, Marge faces a lesson in censorship. The residents of Springfield are outraged by the nudity of Michelangelo's famous sculpture David and demand that it be made more acceptable for the public. In a humorous twist, to calm the city's outrage, they dress the statue in jeans. This storyline reflects real-life events. In 2016, a copy of David in St. Petersburg caused public controversy, even leading to a vote on whether to cover the statue or remove it altogether. Moreover, this year in Florida, one school decided to label the statue as too pornographic to be shown to children, which sparked just as much outrage. In response, the mayor of Florence invited the school principal to visit the city and personally appreciate Michelangelo's masterpiece. Even in 2024, censorship of David continues around the world, becoming a trendy topic. How could they predict something like this? Flying cars. But let's also talk about advanced technology. Flying cars have long fascinated scientists, engineers, and sci-fi writers. This idea, frequently found in film and literature, also appears in popular culture. For example, in a 2005 Simpsons episode titled Future Drama, Homer Simpson spends the family's savings not only on building an extravagant underwater home, but also on developing a prototype flying car. In this fictional 2013, he joyfully takes his son Bart for a ride in his new invention. reflecting our shared fantasy of convenient and fast air travel. But what's the reality? This field is actively evolving. Initiatives like Uber's air taxi project, planned for launch in 2020, and the Kitty Hawk Flyer prototype, presented by Larry Page in 2018, highlight significant interest and investment in this area. However, technical and regulatory hurdles, including the development of batteries capable of sustaining long flights and the need for a sophisticated air traffic control system, make commuting to work in flying cars unattainable for now. Still, a breakthrough is expected in the coming years, making this prediction quite ambitious. Virtual food. In the Simpsons episode titled Bart to the Future, Marge and Homer immerse themselves in a world of virtual reality, using special glasses and tubes to taste digital food. This scene is both impressive and mind-blowing, yet the real world is still far from offering such an experience in full. However, progress in this direction is already noticeable. In 2013, researchers from the National University of Singapore developed a digital taste simulator that can mimic various taste sensations by applying electrical and thermal impulses to the user's tongue. This device opens new horizons for creating a virtual gastronomic experience. Meanwhile, researchers from Cornell University found that the taste of cheese improves when consumed in a pleasant virtual environment. Based on these findings, the first virtual reality restaurant was opened in Tokyo, where visitors can immerse themselves in a unique atmosphere and enjoy an extraordinary gastronomic experience. Such technologies could be a real boon for people with dietary restrictions like diabetics, who can enjoy the taste of sweets without risking their health. Despite the potential and innovation of such solutions, a complete replacement of traditional food with virtual food is unlikely in the near future. However, the possibility of enjoying the crunch of virtual chips while sitting on your couch watching TV, though it sounds like science fiction, does hold some potential. I'd definitely give it a try. Ivanka Trump. Almost everyone knows that The Simpsons predicted Donald Trump's victory, but that's not the only prophecy concerning his family and politics. In the 2016 Treehouse of Horror 7th episode, Homer finds himself at the center of political satire again. He wears a badge that says Ivanka 2028, humorously commenting that everything happens too soon in America, hinting at Ivanka Trump's potential future presidential run. What seemed like just a joke at the time took a more serious tone in 2018, when Ivanka Trump actually expressed her openness to considering a presidential run, specifically aiming to become the first female president of the United States. This statement stirred public interest and fueled discussions about her potential political future. A 2017 poll showed that 44% of Americans approved of Ivanka, reinforcing the idea that she might seriously compete for the highest office. Artificial intelligence. And what about AI? Technological progress keeps advancing, and we are getting closer to a world that somewhat resembles the storylines of The Simpsons. In the 2012 episode titled Them Robot, Mr. Burns, facing high costs of employee testing, decides to replace human workers with robots, leading to 99% unemployment in Springfield. Homer remains the only human at the power plant, and when he accidentally damages one of the robots, he discovers that the machines possess human-like artificial intelligence. The situation escalates when the robots begin a revolt. Science fiction often predicts the future. For example, fast food chains like McDonald's are testing robotic fry cooks and voice ordering systems. These innovations could radically transform the restaurant industry, minimizing human labor in routine and repetitive tasks. Experts estimate that by 2030, robots could replace up to 800 million jobs worldwide. This highlights the significant potential of AI and robotics in various fields, from manufacturing to services. However, we must also consider the social consequences of such changes: rising unemployment, the need for worker retraining, and potential ethical dilemmas in using robots in everyday life. Not to mention the possibility of machines actually rebelling. Let's hope it doesn't come to that, but AI is already frightening with its capabilities. Puppet leaders. What do you think about conspiracy predictions? In one of the most fantastical episodes of The Simpsons, aired in 1996, an especially fascinating storyline unfolds. In the short Citizen Kang from the Treehouse of Horror 7 episode, Homer discovers that presidential candidates Bill Clinton and Bob Dole are actually aliens who have replaced the real politicians with the goal of taking over the United States. Seems like a joke, right? But this absurd idea resonates with numerous conspiracy theories suggesting that alien reptilians are disguised as influential figures. British conspiracy theorist David Icke is famous for his numerous books and lectures about reptilian humanoids which, according to him, secretly control the world. Icke claims that those hiding their true nature include Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and even the Queen of England. The triune brain theory developed in the 1960s adds intrigue to this topic. According to this model, the human brain contains a so-called reptilian part responsible for instinctual behavior, suggesting our evolutionary heritage from reptiles. Although this model has scientific backing, conspiracy theorists often use it to support the idea of reptilian control over humanity. Who knows, maybe the Simpsons got it right again? Or do they have accurate information? Teleportation. Who hasn't dreamed of learning to teleport? The episode Treehouse of Horror 8, where Homer turns into a flyman, is a great example of how pop culture uses complex scientific ideas for comedic content. It's not only funny, but also makes us think about the possibilities and risks of technology. Scientific progress in quantum entanglement shows the potential for teleportation, but only on a very basic level. Experiments in 2017 with photon teleportation over significant distances were an important step forward in understanding and utilizing quantum states for information transfer. However, the prospect of teleporting atoms or molecules, let alone entire organisms, remains far from reality. The amount of data needed to teleport a human body, estimated by scientists from the University of Leicester, is mind-boggling and highlights the enormous technical and theoretical obstacles to realizing such technology. Perhaps future discoveries will make it part of our daily lives, and we'll be able to say that The Simpsons predicted this too. Surveillance of Americans. But you know what they really predicted? Global surveillance. The scene from The Simpsons movie uncannily foresaw the future, revealing the widely discussed topic of spying on ordinary people. That moment when Marge dismisses Lisa's concerns about potential eavesdropping, and the camera switches to the NSA office where agents are indeed listening to their conversation, became a classic example of the show's ironic humor that reflects real societal issues with incredible accuracy. In 2013, Edward Snowden, a former CIA employee and contractor for the U.S. National Security Agency, revealed information about the NSA's massive surveillance programs, including PRISM, which allowed the agency to access user data from major tech companies. This revelation sparked a global scandal and prompted discussions about privacy, citizen rights, and the scope of government oversight. The Simpsons movie used this moment to highlight an important issue, the relevance of which we only fully realized years after the film's release. Separate from the US? Remember, I promised to talk about the possible breakup of the US? Let me remind you of that conversation about the potential disintegration of the United States. While this prediction hasn't come true yet, it's already being discussed. In 2011, an episode of The Simpsons about the future aired, Season 23, Episode 9. In this episode, Lisa is unable to use the teleportation device due to her pregnancy. Before her, two passengers use the teleportation, one of whom is heading to the independent Republic of Texas. Social media users consider this a prediction. In January, the Texas National Guard took control of a section of the US-Mexico border, blocking access to federal border patrol agents. President Joe Biden announced his readiness to take strict measures. Meanwhile, the governor of Texas has received support from 25 other states. Whether Texas will become a separate country remains unknown. But of all the US states, only Texas has the legal right to secede from the Union. Let's see what happens. By the way, if you enjoy interesting stories, know how to write scripts, edit, or voice over videos, feel free to join the Telegram bot linked in the description. I'd love to collaborate. Thanks for watching.